Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and this is it. We are finally here to opening day. But before hopping into opening day, first we need to look at the rotation. So here's Jose Urena. He's gonna get the start in opening day. He's gonna be 80 stamina, hits per nine is gonna be 59, strikeouts 59. I mean, nothing too impressive, but he did have a good year last year. He went 14-7 with the whip at 127, which is pretty good. It was a breakout year for him. So looking for him to kind of take the next step, prove that he's going to be maybe our ace going forward. We'll see. Dan Straley behind him. Adam Collins going to man the third spot, but don't be fooled, man. None of these spots are really guaranteed for any of these guys, because Sandy Alcantara has probably got his spot on the team pretty much locked up, but it's because he's got some potential. He's 22 years old, B potential, 73 overall. Despain is going to get the fifth spot, but besides Alcantara and Urania, I don't really know anybody that's really going to be locked in as far as how the season progresses and thing. I think those two are the only ones a part of the long-term plan, along with Harlan Garcia. I like what he does. He's 25 years old. He's a lefty out of the bullpen, so you can always use one of those. Tazawa, Steckenrider, Guerra, Whitgren, Ziegler, and Barraclough are gonna be in the bullpen. So we kind of got something to build here, because nobody's overly impressive here. But let's move on to the lineups. So here's what the lineups are going to look like. So right-handers, I'm going to have Cameron Maben leading it off for us, and he's a pretty good leadoff hitter. You see his clutch is up there, and I'm going to need that, especially for a leadoff hitter, to get on base, get around the base. I'm going to look for him to score a lot of runs this year, with Starlin Castro right behind him. So Starlin Castro looks like he hits a little bit better versus righties than lefties. His contact is higher versus lefties, but his power is higher versus righties, so I like him in that two spot. Justin Bohr, no problem here. He's going to bat third. Lewis Brinson is going to bat behind him, and this is going to be the debut of Lewis Brinson in a Miami Marlins uniform. And remember, he's one of the top prospects in baseball. I think he's top 30 to be exact. I remember to start the year last year, he was top 10, I believe, but he kind of dropped because he had a disappointing start with the Brewers. But now he's getting a fresh start. So JT Realmuto is going to be behind him. Martin Prado is actually going to start over Brian Anderson. It's because I think that Martin Prado hits the ball a little bit better. You see his contact versus left is 99, and I think that Brian Anderson maybe just isn't quite there. You see his hitting zones are all blue. Miguel Rojas is behind him, and left-handed pitcher, I'm going to put Lewis Brinson to the 2 spot, move Muto to the 4 spot, and then put Starlin Castro in the 5 spot. So I'm going to move it around a little bit versus left-handers, because I know some right-handers do hit better. So I kind of like spread it out a little bit. Scott Van Slyke is actually going to switch rotational days with Derek Dietrich, because he hits a lot better than Dietrich, but look at his fielding attributes. I mean, it's all in the 40s. So, and then Miguel Rojas, I like him in the 8 spot. He's a good hitter. He's got good vision. So I like him down there, but he definitely needs to work on some fielding skills. But you guys submitted your prospects, so let's look at the top prospects going into this season that you guys submitted. So thanks all you guys for all these submissions. But remember, I wasn't going to make anybody overpowering. Remember, you guys are just guys that basically just tried out and made the squad. So there's 10 of you, but let's hop into the action, man. You guys had some really interesting stories, starting with Sean Little. We're going to start with the best prospects and probably go to the guys the least likely to really make any noise in the organization, even though it's possible. You never know, but Sean Little is a diamond in the rough for sure. So he's 22 years old, and he's actually from Compton, California. He kind of had a rough upbringing, to say the least. He's tough. You see, he's got that durability of 97. He's a tough kid, but he's fast. He's got that blazing speed, good arm strength, but he can use a lot of help hitting the ball. He's got a lot of potential, though. He's got speed. He's already got the physical tools. He's just got to work on the mechanics of the game, get his fundamentals right, but he's definitely got a really bright future in our outfield. Hopefully he'll be a part of the organization. Nomar Gonzalez, a relief pitcher we found. He's only 19. He's from Panama, and he's a guy that modeled his game off of Mariano Rivera, so you know he's going to be having that similar style, but you know what's different? He's a lefty. So when I discovered him, he was 19. I took a flyer on him. He does have beat potential. He's our only other guy that has beat potential, but he's 19. I mean, he's got a lot of room to grow. He doesn't have the skills right now. He doesn't have the velocity. He doesn't have any of those tools, but I mean, he's going to be good. I hope that he develops into something in our minor league system. Hopefully we'll see how he does a few years down the road. Maybe he'll have a chance of making a spring training roster in a couple of years and showing the major league scouts what he's got. Staying on the same track with pitching, Ashton Cohen, a familiar face. Remember, he was in our Marquette dynasty. He was a transfer, JUCO transfer quarterback, and he decided to move on to baseball because he did not make it to the NFL. He had an Arena Football League contract, but he didn't think that was real football. So he decided to move on to his high school sport, baseball. And what's funny about him is he comes in at 67 overall. He's only C potential, but he's the highest rated prospect right now at this moment, and he's not on the 40-man. You never know. He could make noise in the minor leagues and possibly vie for a spot next year, but we'll see. Ashton Cohen makes his way onto the Miami Marlins roster. Jared Padilla out of Mexico. Now, this is a guy that's pretty big. He's 6'3", 240. He's only 20 years old. He's out of Mexico, so he's got a lot of potential, I think. In my mind, he's C potential. He's got the stamina right now to last in the minor leagues, but he's got to work on how many hits he gives up. He's got a pretty good slider, but he's a guy to keep your eye on. Max Rosario Belleros. So this is a guy that's actually the younger cousin of Eddie Rosario. And what's funny is that he's 20 years old, from Canada, 6 foot, but he's got a lot of room to grow. He's got a lot of work to do. 57 overall, 20 years old. So, I mean, he's got a lot of time to develop, but he's not very good right now. So we'll see how he goes. We needed some catchers in the organization, and Ryan Brinker fit that bill. We're taking a flyer on him a little bit. He was drafted in the last round of the 2017 draft, but he kind of got dropped from the minor league system, and we're kind of picking him back up. He's 25 years old, 67 overall, but he's got deep potential because he's already been dropped by an organization. He played a lot of years in college, played at Maryland, so we'll just have to see how he develops. He's got deep potential, so I don't know if that's going to get better or not, but we're just taking a flyer. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of taking a flyer, another catcher. We didn't really find any great catcher prospects, so we got a couple that we might find a diamond in a rough in, and this one's Jacob Ingram. So he's got the arm strength of a man. I mean, he's got 77 arm strength. He's only 21 years old, but he can't hit right now. I mean, that's the thing. He just can't hit. He doesn't have speed. I mean, it's not expected that he has speed as a catcher, but another guy from Oregon traveling all the way to Miami to try out. And we'll see how it goes with Jacob Ingram. We got 2 catching prospects. We got to grow. We wanted to at least sign one power guy, and that's what we found in Jason Lundgren, and he's going to be 22 years old. He's a big guy too, 5'11", 244. So he's going to be a fielding first baseman. He has good range. He can field as well, but he's got power. That's the main reason we signed him to a minor league contract. He's got power. He's in the 70s with his power. So we'll see how it goes for him facing some tough pitching because he hasn't had much experience versus professional pitching, but we'll see. Eric Torrijos. So this guy is a Mexican-born, 5'10". He's only 20 years old. He's 57 overall, C potential. So I actually like what I see in him. He's got some decent speed, and he actually has some arm strength right now. As a 20-year-old, we're not expecting him to contribute at all in the next couple years. Maybe down the road he might turn into something, but this is a guy that just impressed. I mean, he impressed on his effort, his will, and we'll see. He's got a lot of room to grow. I'm excited for him to be in the organization, so let's move on. Last but certainly not least, Max Levum. So this is a guy from Wisconsin. We kind of had our eyes on him. We knew who he was coming into the tryout, and we just wanted to confirm to see if he still had his skills left, because back in college, he had some injury problems, and he's got 81 durability. He's gotten a little healthier now, but he's a guy that actually had a lot of potential. Maybe he was going to get drafted, but his injuries pretty much kept all teams away from taking a flyer on him. But we saw him at this camp, and we decided to take him on. So Max Levum, he's gonna be an outfielder. I don't know exactly what position in the outfield he's gonna play, but he's 65 overall, C potential. He's only 23, so he's got some room to grow. He's a good hitter right now for the minor leagues. We're gonna be looking for him to get better, but we'll see. So before hopping into the opening day action versus the Cubs, let's talk about some prospects that were already in the game, and some guys that do exist actually in real life. Magneuris Sierra, so he's actually a pretty good prospect. If you look at him, he's 86 speed, he's got contact, he's got everything. I mean, right now he looks like a pretty good player. He can work on his arm strength just a little bit, but he needs to hit well in the minor leagues so his hitting zones get better, because look, it's all blue. But he's a guy to keep your eye on. Monty Harrison, another top prospect. He's actually the number 2 prospect in the organization behind Lewis Brinson, who was making his debut at the major league level. But look at Monty Harrison. He's really good. I mean, if you look at him, he's got decent speed, 72 speed, but 86 arm strength, something we do not have at the major league level right now. Because look at Cameron Maybin. He's only got 65 arm strength. Dietrich's got 55. Sierra's pretty low too. Scott Van Slyke is in the 40s, and Brinson isn't that well either. So Monty Harrison is a guy to look out for. He is on the 40-man, so he could actually make his debut this year. We don't know, but the last guy I want you guys to keep an eye on is Garrett Cooper. Now, Garrett Cooper's been bounced around organizations, probably 3 of them. I remember he was with the Yankees as well last year, but now he's with the Miami Marlins, and Garrett Cooper's 27, so he's a little older than the typical prospect, but he's still got beat potential, but he's got power. I mean, look at that. He can hit the ball, and remember last year from our Milwaukee Brewers series, he was on our team, and he actually contributed off the bench, but he's a big guy. He's 6'6", 230, so this is a guy to keep your eye on. And we'll see. Let's get this season going. I'm excited. Miami Marlins, from Milwaukee to Miami. Let's go. Going up against Chicago. Let's get this W. Our offense didn't have a good spring training, so I'm kind of nervous going into this game. I can't lie, but we do have Jose Urena on the mound, and right off the bat, facing Javier Baez for the Cubs, and he hits a line drive down the right field line. And look at Lewis Brinson taking his time throwing the ball in there. Javier Baez gets to second, and Albert O'Mara Jr. comes to the plate next and hits another one down the line, and that one's gonna bring in Javier Baez. So back-to-back doubles to start this game out. But look at what happens. Urena gets hurt already after 2 batters. He's feeling some pain in his midsection, and he has to come out the game. So I bring in Harlan Garcia, and man, that spells disaster right there. I really hope he's not out for an extended period of time, because that would spell straight disaster for this pitching rotation. But here is Garcia getting out of the inning with 2 strikeouts there. And up to bat, Starlin Castro with 1 out gets the first hit. They score that one, a hit of the year. And we're going to be looking for the top of the lineup to drive a lot of runs in, because the bottom of our lineup, it's kind of questionable. I don't know how good it's going to be. So here's Lewis Brinson coming up with 2 outs, and look at the second baseman that time making the diving grab on that one, coming up with the out. So now to the bottom of the 3rd inning. This time Cameron Maybin's getting the hit up the middle, and like I said, the top of our lineup has to produce some runs. So here with 2 outs, here is Starlin Castro one more time getting a hit to the right side, and that one's going to be through for a base hit. So guys on first and second, and Justin Bour comes up, hits one up the middle, and that one's going to be through the infield, and Cameron Maybin's going to come in to score, and he's going to tie this game up at 1 apiece here in the 3rd inning. So now with guys on first and second, here's Lewis Brinson coming through with the hit to the right side. So now we have bases loaded with JT Realmuto coming up to bat. And he swings that one in the dirt, but this one's past the catcher. And this time we try to get the runner in from third and get gunned out. The Starlin Castro can't make it, and that's going to be 3 outs, but we do tie the game up. So here's Tazawa coming in the top of the 6th inning and facing Chris Bryant, a line shot to the right center gap, and cameraman was going to field that one off the wall, but Chris Bryant starting out the 6th inning just right for the Cubs on the road. And next up, here comes Kyle Schwarber, and you know Tazawa giving up a big hit, but here's another one. This time it's a dinger to Kyle Schwarber, and that one's going to be over the fence for a home run. And the Chicago Cubs take the 3-1 lead here in the 6th inning. And here's the manager for the Cubs coming out, bringing in Brandon Morrow for the bottom of the 8th inning, and right away walking the first batter. And you know what happens when you walk the bottom of the lineup. The top of the lineup comes up, but Cameron Maben strikes out. But here is Starlin Castro. He's been hot in this game, and there he is, another hit over the second baseman's head. And now we got guys on first and second, 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. And here's Justin Bour. Remember, he drove him that run earlier, and he gets one right down the middle, but pops it up to left field. So now it's going to be 2 outs, maybe our last chance to get some runs in. And here's Lewis Brinson coming to the plate. 2 outs, 3-2 count, and he gets a nice pitch to hit. 3-2 count. The runners were going on that one, and that one's going to be down the line. And Starlin Castro's going to round third, heading home, and he's going to slide in safe. And that's going to be a tie game. Some late game magic from Lewis Brinson, and now he's on second. With JT Realmuto coming up, but he strikes out looking, leaves a runner stranded, so Brandon Morrow gets out of the jam. So now we bring in Brad Ziegler here in the top of the 9th inning to kind of leave us a door open to possibly win it on a walk-off. But here's the Chicago Cubs. You can't take them lightly, because here's Jason Hayward coming up, a ground ball, 1 out, and about to turn double play, and Jason Hayward barely beats it out, and that's going to leave 2 outs on the board, and a guy on first base with Javier Baez coming up, and he gets a hit to the right side, and the runner was going on that one, so he's going to make it to third base. Jason Hayward's got decent speed, so you know he's going to make it. So now we had to bring in Kyle Baraclough. We had to get out of this inning, but look at what happens next. Almora comes through once again and drives in Hayward, and the Cubs are going to take the 4-3 lead here in the 9th inning, and Baraclough at least gets a grounder here to end the inning, and it's a 4-3 deficit going into the bottom half of the 9th inning. And here's Martin Prado starting things off, but grounding the ball this time to the second baseman. So now 1 out with Dietrich coming up, and he gets a nice pitch down the middle, but another grounder to second base, and that's going to be 2 outs here on opening day. Do we have it in us to come back? And our last hope this time is the little man at shortstop, Miguel Rojas, and he pops out to right field, and that's going to be game. The Marlins don't have enough offense to get the win in this one, but it's a tough task going up against Kyle Hendrick and the Chicago Cubs, but we do some damage. Brandon Morrow, it comes out on top. Even though he gave up those 2 runs, he comes out on top. And a story to take away from this one, Starlin Castro, 3 for 4. What a big day from him. But Urena, I don't know how hurt he is, how long he's going to be out. So we got to find that out in the next episode. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. There's going to be plenty more action next episode, so you don't want to miss it. We're just getting started in this franchise. Let's go.